Welcome back to FastMonty's Garage. Today we're testing head-to-head the Maradyne 142K, I think, and the Spal 14 Brushed fans. If you missed last episode, I tested this thoroughly on my test bench, which means I measure CFM, amp draw, noise, all the things, including loaded on a radiator. And this Maradyne tested the best so far for brushed fans. If you go to my website, fastmontysgarage.com, click on fan tests, and this spreadsheet shows up. These are all the fans I've tested so far. And yes, the Maradyne's on the top of the brushed list, testing at 1500 CFM loaded. That means I tested it on a radiator. If you go to the far right of that spreadsheet, you'll notice that there are links to every video that I tested it. So in those videos, I show you how I do it. You can do it at home too, and measure amp draw, noise, all the things. And you can verify my results too. Now, moving forward, Maradyne donated another fan. So now I have two of them, which means I can put them in the GTO. And we're gonna do a live test today. We're gonna do the Spals, and then we'll do the Maradynes. And I'm thinking we just idle the engine, get it up to temperature, and measure how long it takes to cool it off. It's like a thermostat. If you don't know, the newest trend to keeping engines for classic cars cool are electric fans. There are two types of fan technology. One is brushed, which is the motors we grew up on with our RC cars. And then the latest is brushless. You see it in hand drills. You see it all over the place. Surgical instruments, all kinds of things, because the efficiency is higher. And more important is a soft start. Actually, the coolest thing, which we'll test at a later date, is you can control brushless fans to creep on and maintain a temperature. Whereas brushed fans typically act like a thermostat. There's an on, let's call it 195 degrees, they turn on, and 175 they'll turn off, like that, thermostat. There are controllers on the market that control a brushed fan like a brushless. I'm gonna get into that in a later video. So if you're brand new, welcome. I got into this mess because I restored the 69 GTO behind me. It still has a Pontiac 400. Well, it's not 400 anymore. It's board and stroke to 470, roller cam aluminum heads, port injected fuel injection, and is putting out close to twice the power of a stock engine. And whenever you do that, you're creating more heat. It's physics. So now I had to get creative with radiators, and then I started dabbling with bigger electric fans, and that's how I got to this point, because I didn't trust the spec of fan manufacturers. So I started testing fans and making my own shrouds, and now we're here. So I want a real life scenario for you guys to see. Now, so before we get started, if I've ever helped you out, consider getting a hat, a shirt, join the Full Monty Club down there. All proceeds go to buying parts for me to do these tests and any upgrades to the GTO, so I can make the mistakes upgrading this thing so you guys don't have to. That's the whole premise of the channel, baby. Now, before I get into my engine specs, which I'll show you, I want everyone to realize that not every engine is built the same. You could have a super cool running engine for some unknown reason. Most of us do not have super cool running classic car engines because we either upgraded the horsepower, we got it bored and stroked, that means your engine block is thinner than stock, or there's something in there you don't even know about. Now, for example, you could have two Pontiac 400s side by side, built the same, and have totally different cooling symptoms when it comes to keeping them cool, or they overheat faster or whatever. There's several different reasons. One could be as easy as the coolant. You could be using a different coolant than the other guy. The other thing is, like I said, the engine block thickness. You don't know the thickness of your engine block. They do vary from block to block. And if you have a very thin walled block, it'll heat up faster. Yeah, and you can't bore it out as much. Like, for example, mine is bored 70 over. For Pontiac guys, if you can get to 70 over, that's a good thing. Some people can't because they don't have enough material in their block. Anyway, it's a good example of block to block variance. Water pumps are different. I have a flow cooler. Speaking of water pumps, the divider plate behind the water pump on a Pontiac, the closer you get it, the better. Some people don't know that. So there's all these things that go into how to keep your engine cool. The easiest thing is getting monster electric fans, and that's why we're here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to drop the car, show you the engine I have, some more specs to it, and then we'll get into testing the Spals first. We'll rip those out, put the Maradynes on, and do another test. Let's go. So here's what's going on. This is my Pontiac 400 that came with the GTO, then bored and stroked to 470 using Butler Performance Spec, everything, aluminum heads, flowing a little over 300 CFM, 87 cc chambers, 10-to-1 compression, and a roller cam with their custom grind, moderately ground, it's not crazy, with 165 rockers, and that is a Phi-Tech system where I converted a manifold for port injection. Now we'll talk more about that later, but one important thing for you Pontiac guys, and some Chevy and Ford guys too, this is a trick to even out the head temperatures. The heads are tapped in the back, both of them, they're teed off, it runs through here, and that evens out the head temperature so you don't have hot steam pockets. Really good at controlling temperatures there, and obviously goes into my cold case GMA 42. It's a cross flow radiator with my custom shroud, which we will dive into a little bit later, but that's where we're starting with. Let's go ahead and get some testing going here. Favorite part of my day and this video is cold starting this damn car because it's fuel injected. So if you guys do not have fuel injection, this is one of the best benefits. The car is super cold. Let me show you. Dead cold. I haven't started the car in like 2 months when I Good Guys show, oh gosh, 2 months ago, and it poured rain. The car is filthy. I didn't tell you guys that earlier. I haven't washed it yet. Yeah, so misery, right? Now we're gonna go ahead and start it. And like I said, we're going to monitor the temperature, but again, this is my favorite part. Watch, I'll eat my words, but you can hear it squirt. Just like that, baby. So this is the handheld, and I can monitor RPM, you can monitor all kinds of things, but these are the 4 I picked. So coolant temperature, I mean look, 60 degrees, dead cold. So we're gonna wait till this gets to, I think it's around 200, but the important thing is here, when this turns to number 1, that means the fans are turned on. And I will use my phone to time how long it takes to get to 0. Okay, we're getting close. On. Okay, finally caught it this time. .106. I hope this is my last test. Come on, there we go. I say that because oil pressure's finally stabilized to around 23 psi, which is kind of my leading indicator that we have full, well, at least most of the heat soak taken care of. We'll see. All right. Theory stands, 119. Okay, so I did 6 times, and that was driving my patience. But I noticed the oil pressure was dropping, then it stabilized at 23. So that's what our goal is for the Maradyne test. Let's go take these Spals out and get the Maradynes in. Oh, dropped a nut, but one Spal out. Bam, and that's a little warm. Woo. Spal number 2. Maradyne number 1, I had to add a little length to match the same wire harness on the left-hand Spal. And if you weren't aware, or living under a rock, these Maradynes also fit my shrouds, which are found on my website, FastMonty'sGarage.com. So yeah, I'm anxious because I want this to work. I don't know how the test is going to go, even though the CFM is a lot better under load with these Maradynes. We will see. And Maradyne number 2, I actually changed the connector to match my current harness so I can swap them anytime I want. And a perfect fit. Almost like I designed this shroud in CAD. Because I did. Let's go. All right, test number 6. I'm sick of testing. So this better be around 108, 109. Oil pressure still 24, 25-ish. Oil pressure 24-ish. That's how I get my oil pressure. It's a mechanical gauge, so that's legit, as well as my water temperature. This temperature is a few degrees off, and and that's pretty normal for fuel injection. All they care about is a 175 temperature or higher. Come on. Ha! 110. Can we just call it 109, folks? Because I'm sick of testing. So that's 110, but here's all the results I got. I'm gonna go ahead and see if any of this data makes sense and go from there. Crazy day of learning today, huh? So as you saw, I learned a lot. I know I skipped a lot of the tests. I did each one 6 times. Yeah, it was painful. I just sat there for, I don't know, half hour doing this, or more than a half hour. What am I saying? Anyway, the difference was 10 seconds. What it came down to. And I learned something. Obviously the engine is going to be more stable at maintaining a temperature when the oil is up to temp. So, and the way I judged that, I don't have an oil temp gauge, was the pressure. I showed you guys that. So it's actually 25 PSI is standard for my idle. I was reading it wrong when I said 23. So 25 PSI is where it likes to be stable. So the Maradyne settled at 110. And the Spal was at 1 minute 20. So that's 80 seconds versus 70 seconds, 10-second difference, depending on which way you measure it, sucking or blowing. It's either going to be 12.5% different or 14%, depending if you take 10 of 80 or 10 of 70. So compared to the 25% improvement of Maradyne, it wasn't linear. I thought it would be 25% better cooling, but there are a lot of variables going on. And as I explained earlier in the video, it could be just because I'm sitting here in the garage and it's hotter in the garage the second round of testing. I don't know, boys and girls. I should have had a thermometer out here and I don't. So I apologize. You know, I'm just a guy working in the shop. So anyway, if I've ever recommended a Spal Brushed fan, I still recommend the Spal Brushed fan. Do not feel that it's going to make a dramatic change if you go to Maradyne. If it's your brand new, and you're brand new buying a fan, go get a Maradyne. I mean, obviously that's my #1 choice. So make sure you stay up to speed on my website because I'm going to populate it every time I test a new fan. If you guys have a fan you want me to test, drop a comment. If you guys have any other comments or suggestions or whatever, drop a comment so everyone can learn from it. That's why we're here, so we can all grow this hobby. My next major project on the car, I've been threatening this forever. I know this, guys. I'm changing that radiator from a crossflow to a LS dual pass radiator because I'm super curious to see if there's cooling potential, and we're going to do the same test of how long it takes to come down from temperature. I think that's the most logical test. So we're going to put the dual pass in there and do the same test. See, and based on this Maradyne running spec, because I'm gonna leave the Maradynes in there. I have no reason to take them out. So there you have it. So I hope you guys learned again, and till next time, subscribe if you haven't, because it's gonna be fun. But build them fast and drive them faster. See ya.